Hello, this is the homework on equation of a straight line. So I'm just going to do a few of the questions and then you can try some of them as well. Okay, let's start. We have two sets of questions, one on the left hand side and one on the right hand side. So I'm just going to do the one on the left hand side first and then those two questions on the right hand side. So on the left hand side we have a question. It says on the grid draw the graph of y equals 5 minus 2x for the value of x from -1 to 3. So what you have to do for this question is draw a table of value with your x on the top and y's on the bottom. For the x on the top, the question tells us what we have to put. We start from -1, then 0, 1, 2, and 3. So let's see. If you put let's start from the easiest one, 0. So if you put 0, it's going to be 2 times 0, which is 0. 5 minus 0 is 5. If we put 1, it's going to be 5 minus 2 lots of 1. 2 lots of 1 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. If we put 2, it's going to be 5 minus 2 lots of 2. 2 lots of 2 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. And if we put 3, it's going to be 2 lots of 3, which is 6. 5 minus 6 is -1. And you start to see a pattern. But anyway, I'm just going to put -1 and see what's going to happen. So 5 minus 2 times -1. 2 times -1 is -2. So it's going to be 5 minus -2. Minus becomes plus. So it's 5 plus 2, which is 7. And also you can see from the pattern as well, it's going down in 2. Now you have all those values in your table. All you need to do is to plot them on the axis. Okay, so let's plot them. The first one is -1 and 7. So -1 across the corridor and then 7 up the stairs. That's your first one. 0 and 5 across the corridor. 0 up the stairs 5. 1 and 3. 2 and 1. And 3 and -1. The good thing about this question is if one of the points is off the line, you can see, you can go back, check it and correct it. Once you got that, put a ruler and then draw a line through all those points. It has to be a straight line. My line is not so straight. Anyway, so that's that question. Next one, you have two lines. You have to write the equation for the line. Remember, the equation of the line is going to be in the form of y equals mx plus c. You have to find two things, m and c. Y and x stays the same. So we need to find m and we need to find c. C is the easiest one to find, so straight away we find c. C is where your line cuts the y-axis. It's called y-intercepts. So if you look on the line, you see the line is cutting the y-axis at this point. The value for that point is -2. So your c is -2. Straight away you get the first mark. And then for the m, the formula for m is y over x. So what you need to do is go over your line, pick two good points. When I say good points, is the points on the line which are on the crossroads, if you like, of the grids. For example, this is not a good point. This is not a good point. This one also is a good point because it's right in the crossroad of the grids. That's in there. So that is a good point. This one is not a good point. That is not a good point. Not a good point. but this one is a good point because we can see it's right in the grid. Okay, so all you need to do is pick 2 good points. So let's pick 2 good points. I'm just going to get rid of this. Let's pick 2 good points. You can pick it anywhere you like. I'm just going to pick this point there, and then I can pick this one. These 2 are good points. Okay, so you draw a triangle from up to bottom, that is your y, and for the side, that is your x. For y, you have 1, 2, 3 squares. For x, you have only 1 square. Okay, and then remember the formula was y over x. So in this case, 3 over 1. Now, before you write your answer, remember whether your line is positive or negative. So what you have to do, put your hand on the left hand side of the paper, so like there, and then decide, is your line going upwards or downwards? If it's going upwards, is a positive line. If it's going downwards, is a negative line. In this case, from left hand side, the line is going upwards, so it's a positive line. So the gradient is going to be positive 3. If it was going down, it would have been minus 3. Now, we have C, we have M. All we need to do, put them back into the formula. So in this case, it's going to be y equals, instead of M, we are going to write 3x, then plus C, or C is minus 2, so it's going to be minus 2. That is our equation for the line for this one. Now I'm going to do the next one as well. So what we need to find out is M, and we need to find out C. Remember what we said about C? C is the easiest one to find out. So where does our line cut the y-axis? This point. Okay, so that's minus 1. M, pick 2 nice points. I can see a nice point there, and I can see a nice point there. There are more than those 2 points, but we only need 2 points. So let's make a triangle. Okay, the y's are 1, 2, 3, 4 units, so that's y equal 4, and x are equal to 1, 2 units. So my m is going to be y over x. In this case, it's going to be 4 over 2, which is equal to 2. I'm going to check, is it positive 2 or negative 2? So if I put my hand on the left hand side, is this line going down or up? It's going down, so it's negative line. So it's going to be minus 2. So I have my M, I have my C. So what I'm going to do, write the equation, which in this case is going to be y equals minus 2x plus C, in this case is minus 1, so it's going to be minus 2x minus 1. Okay, here is a question for you to try. Draw that line for the first part, and then write the equation for those 2 lines on the second part. And don't be surprised if you get a gradient as a fraction. You can have a gradient as a fraction, so that's fine. Just make sure you have it with the correct sign, negative gradients or positive gradients, negative line or positive line. Okay, once you finish these 2 questions, take a picture, but remember this is not all, because there is a second part. So take a picture for the first part, and then have a look on the second part, which I'm going to explain to you now. Okay, so this is very similar to the previous question, but it's just in a different format, if you like. So for the first one, you have gradients and you have a point. The question asks you to write the equation of the line. Okay, so what we have to do is write something very similar to this: y equals mx plus c. Now what is missing in this question is m and c, so all I need to find is m and c. If I find these 2 unknown quantity, then I can write the equation. But the question gives me one of them. It says gradient is 5. So straight away I know m is equal to 5. So that is equal to 5. So I don't need to worry about m. All I need to worry is finding c. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to write the equation using that gradients. So that's going to be y equals, instead of m, I'm going to put 5x plus c. I don't know what c is, but I can find it out. Have a look there. We have y and x given to us in the equation. So if I put, instead of x, if I put x, because that is your x, right? And then that is your y. And instead of y, if I put 4, then I can find c. So let's see what is going to be look like. So y is going to be 4 equal 5 times 0 plus c. 4 equals 5 times 0 is 0, nothing, so that will just disappear, equal to plus c or c. So I can see my c is equal 4. It's a simple one-step equation. So I know now my c is equal 4. So c is equal 4. I have c, I have m, I can write the equation. So the equation is going to be y equals 5x, and c, I know c is 4, positive 4 plus 4. Okay, so that's when the gradient is given to you. But sometimes the gradient is not given to you. You have 2 points. So what you have to do, you have to find the gradient yourself. Everything else is the same, but you just have to find the gradient yourself. Okay, let's have a look on the second question. So we don't know the gradients. We have to find m and we have to find c. First, we are going to tackle the m. So for m, we have to call those points we have x1, x2, y1, and y2. So let's do it. So I'm just going to call the first one x1, then y1, then x2, then y2. The formula for gradient is differences of differences of y over differences of x. So I'm just going to write what I just said. Differences of y, so differences, that means take away y2 minus y1, over differences of x. Okay, so y2 is 8 minus 3 over 2 minus 1. Okay, so on the top we're going to get 5, and on the bottom we get 2 minus 1, which is 1. 5 over 1 is 5. I've got my m. Great. Now all I need to do is find my c. For finding c, I'm going to do exactly what I did in the previous question. Now, by finding the gradient, we are back to where we were in the first example. We have gradients, and we can use one of the points to find c. So let's see. I'm just going to use 5 and this point. I'm going to use this point. Doesn't matter whichever you want to use, you can do. So let's see. First, I write the equation with y with m in it. So it's going to be y equals 5x plus c. Now, instead of x and y, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put 1 and 3. What do we get? We get 3 equals 5 times x is 1, then plus c. 5 times 1 is 5, so it's going to be 3 equals 5 plus c. That's a simple equation. So we want to have c on its own. All we need to do is take 5 away from both sides. So if I take away 5 from this side and take away 5 from this side, then c is going to be equal to C is equal to minus 2. Now I have my C. I have my C. I had my M. All I need to do is write the inequality. Write the equation. So equation would be y equals, instead of M, I'm going to put 5. Because that is my gradient. So 5x. And then my C is minus 2, which is here. Minus 2. That is the final answer. The equation of that line. Okay. Now, I have 6 questions for you to try. The first 3 questions, you don't need to find the gradients because it's been given to you. So your job is a little bit easier. So try those. The only thing you need to do is find C, write the equation. But for the green section, you have 2 points. You have to find the gradient yourself and then write the equation. And as you can imagine, the mark for green section is more because you have to find the gradient yourself. So make sure you try both sections, write your answers on the piece of paper, take a picture and upload it. So for this homework, you have 2 parts. The first part was for the previous section, and these 6 questions are the second parts. Have a good rest of the day.